Hello, boys and girls. A very good evening and welcome to this live session on data analysis and interpretation as a part of the SBI PO main exam refresher brought to you by Talent Sprint. I hope all of you are healthy and so is your preparation for this next round in the SBI PO selection. Right? You know that the main examination is scheduled for the 4th of June, which is just a week away from now, and I'm sure you are, making all the efforts to make the best use of this limited time available and boost your confidence and chances of selection for the next round, which is the SBI PO main examination, right? Chances of selection in the next round, which is the SBI PO main exam, right? Now, before we begin, I would like to understand from all of you about how your preparation is going on, and what are the challenges that you see in this last 1 week that you need to work on. And if there's anything I would like to help you out with that. I see a lot of you have joined the session already. For the benefit of those who have recently joined or enrolled in our program, let me mention that there's a chat box available right beside your video screen, which can be used to interact with us. So if you have any queries or questions during the session, feel free to post it in the chat box, and I would love to address your queries there. So, how is the preparation? I see many of you, right? Sanjay Kumar, we have Genome, Ankit Kapoor, Sushant Singh, Abhi Tripathi, Smriti Priyanka, right? Who else? Yeah, Sumit Kumar, Preetam, Joshi Kant, Aditya Mohanty. Then we have Mohammad Shams, Kumar Ashok. Good, so I'm glad to see you all joining in the session. Mohammad Shams mentioned that the preparation is going good. How about others? Yeah, Naman Agarwal, Rakesh Kumar, and Srindarani have also joined. We also have Arpita, Monica, Naveen. Yeah, so Monica has asked a question here. How many questions come from computer aptitude in mains exam? Well, let me talk a little about this. If you look at the scheme of main examination, there are 4 sections. Number 1 is the reasoning ability and computer aptitude. Number 2 is data analysis and interpretation. The 3rd section is general and banking awareness, and the 4th one is on English language. Now, this scheme is being followed since last year, right? Even the SBI PO main examination in 2016 had the same scheme, right? Where they called the section as the reasoning ability and computer aptitude. And it was being speculated that questions from computer awareness or computer knowledge would be asked along with reasoning ability. But I think most of you must be aware of the fact that there was not a single question on computer aptitude in the last year's main examination, right? I'm sure those who had appeared in the examination last year, or those of spoken to guys who have taken the exam last year would know that there was not a single question from computer aptitude in that reasoning ability section in the last year's exam, right? But we cannot just rely on that and give away our preparation for the same, right? This year again they have mentioned reasoning ability and computer aptitude, so there are chances that they could ask questions on computer knowledge as well. Now, computer being a vast subject, it's hard to kind of fully get ready with that, right? It's like general awareness, right? Anything under the sun can be asked. So even in computers, anything related to computers, from the history to the the most recent technology, can be asked there. However, to help you out, brush up on the basics and get some decent idea, we have a lot of reading material in our learning portal, and we have also added a lot of, I would say not a lot of videos, but yeah, a few videos have been added recently. I think about 7 of them have been added to your learning account, and a lot more will get added in the days to come, right? This is just to help you kind of go through some videos and get the orientation as to how to prepare and get ready for this section, all right? So I'm sure you would find those videos useful. Please share your valuable feedback having gone through those videos. And yes, while I'm speaking about this, let me also give you an update about the general awareness in banking course. I had mentioned this in my last session as well. I'm repeating myself that the general awareness in banking course in your Talent Sprint account, learning account, has been completely revamped, right? We have removed all the old videos, and about 54 new videos have been added. And I'm sure a lot more videos, around 15 to 20 more videos will get added in a couple of days from now, right? All these videos have been done by GVK sir, who's got who has been a banker himself, right? He had started his career as a PO in one of the associate banks of State Bank Group, and yes, and then he moved on in his career and he's retired now. So I think we found the right person sharing his knowledge on the general and banking awareness with all of us. So a lot of videos have been added. The ebooks content has been updated. We also had a live session on general awareness in banking a couple of days back. I'm sure most of you have attended that and got great insights on some topics that are covered there. So yes, the point that I'm trying to make is please go through the revised content and share your feedback with us. We would love to consider your valuable suggestions and feedback and accordingly improve the program, right? I mean, I should not forget to mention that even this change that we have done has been based on your feedback, all right? I would say the program as such has been designed based on all the feedback that we keep getting from our students. So please keep sharing your feedback. We would definitely work on all that we find is really important and useful. Okay. Right. So I think yeah, somebody's mentioned that 56 videos have been added. Yeah. So 56 have been added, and like I said, around 15-20 more videos will get added in a couple of days from now by weekend. Vaishnavi has mentioned that 56 videos have been added. So I hope you have found those videos useful, right? Anupama Gaikwad has mentioned that I'm a little scared about the descriptive paper. Well, Anupama, nothing to worry about the descriptive paper. You know, you got to write an essay and then there's a letter or an application to be written there. Okay. We have got some videos on the descriptive paper as well, which is a part of your English language course. And yes, if you've looked at the events calendar, you would know that Sylvia would be taking a live session on the descriptive paper in the next week, right, before your SBI mains exam. So I'm sure even that will boost your confidence, right? And descriptive paper is one thing that you should, that you would not really worry about if you had been preparing for the same since the beginning, right? Now, what kind of preparation? Not really in terms of writing an essay or letter, but you have to keep yourselves updated about things happening around you, right? It's not just about writing. You should also have content, the right content with you. The way you present the content, the way you start an essay, the way you conclude an essay, and all that can be learned, with practice in a few days now. But what cannot be done now is the kind of content that you need to put in, and that can happen only when you are keeping yourselves updated about things happening around you and in the world, right? So reading newspaper is what I'm referring to, right? So if you have been reading newspapers, if you know what are the major issues happening around, you would not find it difficult to choose the relevant topic from the given choices and write an essay there. So don't worry much about it. I think you should be able to do well, right? And I'm sure Sylvia's session will add a great value to your preparation, right? I would also mention that we have planned for one live session on computer aptitude as well, which is scheduled tomorrow, if I'm not wrong, right? On 26th of May at 6 p.m. And in this session, again, we will discuss some questions that were asked in the previous papers, right? Well, no question has been asked in the SBI PO as such, but we have got some previous year's papers from the IBPS PO exam where questions on computer awareness were asked. So that would be covered in the session tomorrow by Shikha. And yeah, if you have any queries there, you can get it addressed. Ambut Sharma has got the next question. I'm actually looking at the chat and trying to address these queries so that you can devise your own strategy and go for the examination full of confidence. See, there's nothing much to discuss in terms of content today, right? You know what data interpretation and data analysis is all about. What are the different types of topics which are usually tested here? We get questions on line graphs, bar graphs, pie charts, and then what else? Tables, mixed graphs, right? Data sufficiency is an important part here. Then we also have caselets and set theory on which the questions are asked here, right? So mostly on these topics. In fact, if you see a few papers from the previous year's SBI exam, you'll find that almost 95% of the questions asked were around data, right? I mean, related to data interpretation and data analysis, right? And it is all about calculations in my view, right? If you're strong with numbers, if you can do your calculations properly without putting pen on paper, you'll be able to answer these questions without any difficulty. Of course, some new type of questions have been introduced, like 2 years ago we had seen that this question where the data is incomplete was given, right? So there's a tabular form, there's a table there with some data, but some of the fields are missing. So there's nothing to worry about. You know that we cannot answer the question with the missing data. The data is hidden somewhere. So you got to pull that out first and then start answering the questions. All right. Similarly, last year we had seen that there was this new model covered in data interpretation where you have been given two quantities. Now these quantities are not numerical quantities, but some description has been given there, which is like a problem. You got to solve that to find out what that quantity is, and then get the comparison between these two. I'm sure you have seen such questions. That even if you haven't seen those questions, answering this would become very easy. Like for example, the question goes like this: quantity 1, area of a circle with radius 7 centimeters, for example. Quantity 2, area of a rectangle where the length is 12 centimeters and the breadth is 40% less than the length. Now you know that quantity 1 is the area of the circle as given. Quantity 2 is the area of the rectangle. Find out the two quantities, right? I mean, do the calculation there, get the values of these quantities, and then compare and get the right answer, right? Is quantity 1 greater than quantity 2, or quantity 1 less than quantity 2, or these two cannot be compared, or are these two equal, and so on. Options will be given to you, right? So that's something new that was asked last year, and I'm sure we have some questions that we can discuss on that pattern as well, right? So all I'm saying is there's not really much in terms of content. We have already cleared our SBI PO preliminary examination. We have so many videos available in the content library that you have access to. We have done so many live sessions in the past that all the concepts have been covered, right? All we need to do is focus more on data analysis, data interpretation kind of topics, so that it becomes easier for you to attempt such questions, right? But all said and done, I would still say it's about your calculations. Quantitative aptitude or data analysis, for that matter, is just about your calculations. If you start doing every single calculation on paper in the exam, then you are setting yourselves up for failure, right? Like for example, 56 into 28 should not be done on paper. 56 into 28 is a very simple calculation. You must be capable of doing it without pen and paper, right? Now, just what do we say? Assess yourself. Can you do 56 into 28 without paper? Or what would you do if 56 and 28 have to be multiplied? If you think the answer is you do it on paper, then you are out of the race in my view, right? Calculation is very, very important. Now, don't ask me how do we do it. There are a lot of videos available. We have discussed this a plethora of times in the past. And practice is the key. The more you practice, the easier it gets, right? So I think calculation is going to play a key role. Right. Amut Sharma has posted a question. Please tell us the strategy on how to attempt quantitative aptitude section, whether we should solve 2 marks questions first or the easier ones, and so on. Well, Ambuj and others, you must know that in the SBI PO main exam, we have this section called data analysis and interpretation, which is what we're going to cover today. Now, this section will have 35 questions. The time allotted is 45 minutes, and I think 16 marks, right? I mean, there's a typical scheme that SBI has come up, right? So this section will have 35 questions. The time given for this section is 45 minutes, and the maximum marks that can be scored is 60. Now, in terms of time management, I don't see any problem. See, 2 of the biggest problems that have got solved by itself is the time management and the sequence in which you must attend the sections. Why is it so? Because in the SBI PO main exam, each section has got its own time limit, right? Usually in these competitive exams, we have a composite time. That 2 hours is given for 100 questions, or 2 hours for 120 questions, or 200 questions. But here, each section will have its own time limit. So the data analysis section will have 45 minutes time allotted to it. How many questions are going to be there? 35 questions. And I think marks that can be scored is 60. So clearly, we have more than a minute for each question, right? I think about 1 minute, 18 seconds per question. Let's say 35 questions, 45 minutes, right? Which should be sufficient enough. I mean, time management there should not be difficult. To Ambul's query here, that should we answer the 2 marks questions first or 1 marks question first? I think it is obvious that the 1 mark questions will be easier when compared to the 2 marks question. I mean, a genuine paper should be like that. So, which means time taken to answer 1 mark question would be lesser, definitely, than the time taken to answer 2 marks question. It would involve more calculations, I'm sure, the one which has got a weightage of 2 marks. So, I think Ambuj, the target for you should be that, and not just Ambuj, I mean, it is for all, right? The target is that we should make sure that we solve all the 35 questions. You getting it? You may start with the 2 marks ones first, then go to the 1 mark questions. But 45 minutes and 35 questions. You should attempt every question there. All the 35 questions have to be attempted, irrespective of the weightage of marks there, right? So I think, and not just for data analysis and interpretation, for every section, the same strategies applicable. Where can I find those 56 videos? Pratibha, the same general awareness in banking course that you have access to has been updated. Mohammed Shams has mentioned that the videos on descriptive paper are very helpful. Yeah, I'm sure the videos done by Sylvia are very, very helpful. And also the live session that she's going to do next week will enhance your learning. So make sure that you join us in all these live sessions, right? Be it for descriptive paper or for computer aptitude that we have tomorrow. And of course, there'll be a session on reasoning ability as well next week. So join us in these sessions and, go take the exam with confidence. Okay, Tanya has raised a concern. She says there are a lot of mismatches and wrong key to solutions for all sorts of tests in talent screening, be it an only a mock exam or be it daily test. We should be really thankful if it is a test at the earliest. Well, I'm really sorry about this, Tanya. They should not be happening. While I acknowledge that there have been instances, there have been multiple cases where we have found that the answers are not matching with what is given in the solution, and we have taken some actions on that. I'm sure things would be better going forward, and we are also looking at a way where you can report such things to us immediately, so that if there's anything that has missed our eye, we can get to know about it through our students, and fix it immediately, right? So I think that's what I would like to say about that. Ashish Verma says, after so many days, I've come here to join your session only because I'm slightly scared for SBI mains data interpretation portion. Please suggest something to enhance my score in this section. Well, I think Ashish Verma, I cannot suggest anything now that can help you enhance your score in the next, do something in the next few days and enhance your score on 4th of June, right? You should have been working on it already, right? Or you should have already come to a stage where the fears are fixed or sorted, to say, right? And like I mentioned, calculation is the key. It's not the difficulty of the question that is holding us back, right? It is our poor calculation ability that holds us back in these exams. So that's the solution I have. I don't know how much of practice can be done in the next 4, 5, 6 days so that you can improve your score. But I think now that you have cleared the preliminary examination, all I would suggest is be confident, right? Go with full of confidence and just give your best shot possible. So shall we move on? Sushant Singh says, please tell us something about the Bank of Baroda exam. It is on 27th of May. Well, in my view, the strategy remains the same, whether it is the Bank of Baroda PGDBF exam or it is a Bank of India exam or the Dena Bank exam or an IBPS or SBI exam, right? These exams are not just about knowledge. Right? It has got more to do with your state of mind. So keep yourself calm and composed and give your best shot. Right? The best part is that every exam here has got the same syllabus. So we don't really have to worry about anything new that you need to prepare on. All we got to do is focus on the type of questions that are being expected in a particular exam. Right? Like in data interpretation analysis, we know that more of these kind of questions would be asked. So your focus should be more on practicing such questions, right? Pratibha says, please take up section-wise sessions on SBAPO mains 2016 paper. Well, Pratibha, I would like to mention that I'm afraid that we will not be able to take section-wise sessions on the SBAPO mains 2016 paper because, being very honest, we don't have the previous year paper. There are like lots of sources that we have, but nothing is dependable. After these exams have gone online, it has gotten really difficult for us to fetch the papers and solve it. I know a lot of people claim to do that, but when we look at the papers, we don't really get that confidence. Anyway, the questions that we'll solve today have been chosen. Some of those have been chosen from the previous year's papers only, right? So let's just wait and watch. Okay. Okay, I think we should start solving the questions now. We have had enough of general discussion. If there's anything that you would like to like me to answer, please let me know. Pratibha says, can you take the Olmia mock test which I have missed? Well, I think you can take the Olmia mock exam which you have missed, but you would not get the performance report by TR, right? Only if you take it on Saturday and Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, then you get the TR report. Otherwise, you will miss on the TR report. Vinay has mentioned that please provide at least 5 to 6 mock tests in the talent students practices apart from the Olmia mock exam. So Vinay, I think I should clarify here that we will be giving you not 5 to 6 but 10 SBI PO main mock tests other than the Olmia mock exams that we conduct in this pattern. Right? I repeat, there will be 10 SBI PO mains exams mock tests in your account other than the Olmia mock exam that we conduct. Right? So just keep taking one each day at least from now, I would say. All right. So I think time now to get started. So I've got a set of questions here, some of which have been chosen from the previous year paper, or at least the format of some of these questions is from the previous year paper. Like I mentioned, right? Quantity 1, quantity 2, comparison, etc. So I'll present these questions to you one after the other, right? Give you some time to try it out and then discuss the solution. Well, not everything is very complex if you really look at it, right? It's just that the questions have been made a little time consuming by asking us multiple questions within a question, right? By asking us to find out multiple variables within a question and then arrive at a comparison, right? So let's get started, right? Let's see how many of these questions can we solve. Right? It's about 6:28 now, 6:30 now. So we have another 90 minutes left for the session, and I would try and solve as many questions as possible. Okay, but I think to summarize our discussion so far, I would say the advantage that we have in the mains exam is that each section has got its own time. So you don't really have to worry about the breakup of time across sections. And you also don't have to worry about the sequence in which you must attend the section because all that is pre-decided by SBI. So we have to just face it, right? And you have enough time to attend 35 questions because the allotted time is 45 minutes per section. And yes, the weightage is 60 marks. So make sure that you go through all the 35 questions, and I would say answer all the 35 questions because you have a lot of time, right? About more than a minute, 1 minute, 15 seconds per question. Okay, so keep that as a target and yeah, prepare accordingly. So let me share my screen now and present the first set of questions to you all. All right. Mukesh Kumar says, please take my question. Well, Mukesh, I don't remember to have seen the question that you had posted. If you can repost it, it will be great. Yeah, Mukesh, don't worry. If you can, I mean, if it is going to be a question on content, I'm not sure if you can take it up immediately. But if there's any general query that you have, please post it. Meanwhile, let me share the screen and present the first set of questions to you all. So here we go. All right, so the first session for the SBI, not the first session, sorry, the second session for the SBI PO mains exam refresher, which is on quantitative aptitude or data analysis and interpretation. Okay, just hold on. I would like to. All right, here we go. So you can see that. Just a second. I would like to open the tool that we have. Yeah. All right, so here's the first question. So as you can see, two quantities have been given to us, quantity 1 and quantity 2. Quantity 1 is 18x cube y cube, quantity 2 is 12x power 4 y power 4. And I think one piece of information given to us is that x is greater than 0 and y is less than 0. Now, based on this data, we got to compare the two quantities. And find out the comparison. Find out which of the options is correct. So is quantity 1 greater than quantity 2, quantity 1 less than quantity 2, 1 greater than or equal to 2, 1 less than or equal to 2, or 1 equal to 2. Okay, so I give you about 45 seconds to try this simple question. It should be enough for you to get the answer. Let's see how many of you can crack it. So 45 seconds and your time starts now. Got the answer? I can see two types of responses that have come in here. Many of you say answer should be option 2, but then there are a few who mentioned that answer should be option 1, right? Look at this. Atish, Ambuj, Tanya have got option 2, right? Venu Madhavi has also got option 2, but Snigdha, Ashish, DL have got option 1. Laskar Singh, Monica, Preeti, Arpita, Shomu Banerjee, Roshini, Vigneshwari, Aditya Mohanty, Priyanka, Rishika, Tanya, Harshit, Vaishnavi, these guys have got option 2. But then Chandralekha has got option 1, Saikin has got option 2. Yeah. So I think most of you have got option 2 as the answer, while 3-4 of you have got option 1. So clearly the majority is towards option 2, which is quantity 1 should be less than quantity 2. Quantity 1 has to be less than quantity 2. So let's take it up. Right? All right, so here we go. Now look at this. What is quantity 1? Quantity 1 is 18 x cube y cube. Quantity 1 is 18 x cube y cube. Just hold on for a second. I would like to. Sorry about this. Okay, so here we go. So as discussed, two quantities have been given here. We got to find out the value in each of these quantities and then compare them to arrive at the right answer. So quantity 1 here is 18 x cube y cube. Quantity 2 is 12 x power 4 y power 4. And we have been given a data point which says that x is greater than 0 and y is less than 0. So based on this, we got to evaluate these two quantities and find out the right option. Okay. Now, how do you solve it? See, the first one is 18 x cube y cube. The second one is 12 x power 4 y power 4. Now, the point which has been given here is x is greater than 0 and y is less than 0. So one way to solve is to assume some values for x and y, right? He says that x has to be greater than 0. So let's assume that x is equal to 2. And since y has to be less than 0, let's say y is equal to -1. Right? These are assumptions. We have just assumed that these are the two values, right? We have not violated any of the conditions, right? X is greater than 0 and y is less than 0. Now substitute these values of x and y in the two quantities. So what happens? The first one becomes 18 into 2 cube into -1 cube, right? And the second one becomes 12 into 2 power 4 into -1 power 4. If you proceed further, we get 18 into 8 into 1, and this is 12 into 16 into 1. This is 18 into 8 into -1, sorry. And this is 12 into 16 into 1. Now, without doing the complete calculation, one simple observation is the first value is going to be negative because we are multiplying 18 into 8 product with -1. And the second one is positive. So without having to worry about magnitude, we can say that the first value is going to be less than the second value. So quantity 1 will be less than quantity 2, and hence the answer has to be option 2. And I would say that a smart person will not put pen on paper at all. It's not needed. We don't even have to go for any assumption, because a simple observation here is, you know that y is going to be negative value. From this data given here, we know that x is positive, and y is negative. Now y is negative means what? Y cube would be a negative value, and y power 4 will be positive. So 18x cube is definitely positive, multiplied by a negative value. 12x power 4 is positive, multiplied by another positive. So positive into negative is negative, and positive into positive is positive. So without even looking at the magnitude, we can say that always quantity 1 will be negative and quantity 2 is going to be positive. And hence, quantity 1 will be less than quantity 2. Right? So I think it shouldn't take more than 10 seconds for you to arrive at the answer. Right? Option 2, quantity 1 less than quantity 2 will be the final answer. All right? Let me just clear it up and move to the next one. Okay, here's the next question. Some data given there. It says speed of a boat in still water and speed of current is in the ratio of 6:1. If the difference between the distance covered by the boat in 2 hours upstream and in 2 hours downstream is 8 kilometers, then quantity 1 is speed of the boat in still water. Quantity 2 is speed of a cyclist who goes 28 kilometers in 2 hours. Again, compare and get the relationship. So I'll give you what? 1 minute for this. Should be more than sufficient. Your time starts now. Got it? Okay, so the time is up. Let me just quickly look at a few responses. I think Chandralekha, Tiwari, Arpita Majumdar, Tanya Mandal, Anil Kiran, Sai Kiran. Everybody's got option 2, is it? Sushant Singh, Sumit Kumar, Monika, Ayushi Tripathi, Sanjay Kumar, Hitesh, Rishika, Shomu Banerjee. Yeah. So clearly, almost all of you have got option 2 as the answer. And I think Ambuj is also given as the values. Ambuj says quantity 1 is equal to 2 and quantity 2 is 14. Hence option 2, which is quantity 1 less than quantity 2. So let's look at the solution now. See what the question says. Speed of a boat in still water and speed of current is in the ratio 6:1. If the difference between distance covered by boat in 2 hours upstream and in 2 hours downstream is 8 kilometers, then compare the two quantities. What is quantity 1? Speed of boat in still water. Quantity 2, speed of cyclist who goes 28 kilometers in 2 hours. Now, very clearly, if you look at quantity 2, it says speed of cyclist who goes 28 kilometers in 2 hours. You have been given the distance 28 kilometers. You've been given the time 2 hours. So what should be the speed? the speed here should be distance by time, 28 by 2, 14. So quantity 2 is like right there, 14. 14 is the value, right? 14 kilometers per hour. Again, make sure that the units are balanced, right? This is kilometers per hour. So quantity 1 should also be done in kilometers per hour. So anyway, quantity 2 is 14 kilometers per hour. All we need to do is find out quantity 1. What is he asking us to find out quantity 1? Speed of the boat in still water. What is the speed of the boat in still water? Now I think quantity 1 can be evaluated based on the data given here. The data says speed of boat in still water and speed of current is in the ratio of 6:1. So let's say speed of boat by speed of water is equal to 6/1, which is like 6x and x. I mean, these are the speeds, let's say. If the difference between the distance covered by the boat in 2 hours upstream and 2 hours downstream is 8 kilometers. See, what is this 8 kilometers? It is the difference of the distance, delta D, which is equal to 8 kilometers. What is distance? Distance is equal to speed by time. So basically what is it trying to tell us here? That distance downstream minus distance upstream is equal to 8. Yes or no? Differences of the two distances, right? Difference of the two distances. So the downstream difference, the downstream distance minus the upstream distance is equal to 8. Now what is distance? Distance is speed by time. What is speed downstream? What is speed downstream? Speed is equal to sum of the speeds. When you're going downstream, we take speed of the boat plus speed of the water. So can I say it is 6x plus x, 7x by time, which is 2 hours, minus upstream speed. What happens when the boat is going upstream? When it is going upstream, the overall speed should be taken as the difference of the two speeds, speed of the boat minus speed of the water. So 6x minus x, 6x minus x upon 2, which is equal to 8. Now simplify this to get the value of x. So what happens? We get you understand? 7x by 2 minus 5x by 2. Okay, hold on. Is something wrong here? What is mentioned here is the difference of the distance. Distance in 2 hours upstream and 2 hours downstream is 8 kilometers, right? Sorry, I'm so sorry. I think I've been. This is not a mistake. It is a crime. What I've done here is a crime. Right? Distance is speed into time. Okay, so minus 0.25 for me in this one. Although I may correct it now, I would have corrected it in the exam also, but spent way too much time than what was needed. So distance downstream minus distance upstream is equal to 8 kilometers. Distance is speed into time, right? So speed downstream. What is speed downstream? Speed of the boat plus speed of the water. So 6x plus x into time is 2 hours minus distance upstream, speed of the boat minus speed of the stream into time is 2 hours, which is equal to 8. So 7x into 2, 14x, 5x into 2, 10x. So 14x minus 10x, which is 4x. 4x is equal to 8, which implies x is equal to 2. So what do you get to know? The variable x. What is x? X is equal to 2. Now put it back here, x equals to 2. So what do we get? From this we get that speed of the boat, which is 6x, 6 into 2, 12 kilometers per hour. And speed of the water is equal to x, which is 2 kilometers per hour. Now look at quantity 1. Quantity 1 says speed of boat in still water. What is the speed of boat in still water? What do you think is the speed of the boat in still water? The speed of the boat in still water is 12 kilometers per hour. Right? So this is 12 kilometers per hour. Now compare, what do you find? You find that quantity 1 is 12 kilometers per hour and quantity 2 is 14 kilometers per hour. So obviously quantity 1 is less than quantity 2 and hence the answer has to be option 2. Right? But I would still give myself a minus 0.25 here, or 1/4 of whatever weightage this question carries. Because I made a blunder, right? Distance is equal to speed into time, not speed by time. Sorry about that. Anyways, glad to know that most of you have got the right answer, which is option 2. Let's look at the next one. Okay, here's the next question. One more on time and distance. So quantity 1 and quantity 2. Quantity 1 is speed of the train, which is 350 meter long and takes 36 seconds to cross a man running at a speed of 5 kilometers per hour in the direction opposite to that of the train. And quantity 2 is the average speed of Monica for the entire journey when Monica covers a certain distance at the speed of 48 kilometers per hour and travels back at the speed of 32 kilometers per hour to go to her initial position. So I think two concepts involved there. One is the average speed and second is trains and trains related problem. So get the answers. Got it? All right. So option 2 again. That's what I get to see here, right? Dhawal, Venu Madhavi, Mohit, Vinod Rathod, Nikhila Sai, Sushant Singh, Himabindu, Manoja, Mohammad Shams, Shamu have got option 2. But then Harshit says it is option 1. And we also have Vinay here who has got option 1. Yeah. So why is that the okay, Vinay has changed it later on, I guess, right? Vinay changed it to option 2. Oh no, he didn't. So I think, yeah, Vinay has finally changed it to option 2. But still, Harshit believes that it is option 1, quantity 1 greater than quantity 2. So why is there so much of, not so much of confusion, only one or two of you have confused, but why? The questions are not difficult in my view. Tell me what are the values that you have got. Let me just hear that out. I'm sure you know about these concepts, right? Both are very basic concepts from the topic of time and distance, right? Each one can be looked at as an independent question. Now, these two combined together has become one question now. 10 and 40. Cyclone has got 10 and 40. 10 and 40. All right. I am not sure about others. So if it is 10 and 40, then definitely quantity 1 is less than quantity 2. Akshay Patel has also got option 1. So Akshay and Harshit are the two guys who got option 1. See, I think my concern is while this can be cracked in what 30 to 35 seconds, I gave you a minute or more than a minute time to try this. But even after that, if you don't get the right answer, it gets a little bit. Shitish has also got option 1. There's competition now, right? Many of you are saying the answer should be option 1. All right, let's take it up now. So, what is quantity 1? It says speed of the train, which is 350 meter long and takes 36 seconds to cross a man running at a speed of 5 km per hour in the direction opposite to that of the train. So let's evaluate quantity 1 first, right? Quantity 1 here is talking about a train and a man. So basically, a train is crossing a man, right? It crosses a man who's running at a speed of 5 km per hour in the direction opposite to that of the train. Now the train is 350 meter long and it takes 36 seconds to do this. So if you go by the concept that we have discussed, you know what the formula is here. When two bodies are moving in opposite direction, we say speed of the first body plus speed of the second body equals to length of the first body plus length of the second body by time. You don't have to write this formula in the exam. I'm just putting it here for the sake of revision, but you know what you do in the exam is just substitute the values directly. So speed of first body plus speed of second body is equal to the sum of the lengths divided by time. Now substitute value. What is first body? First body is the train. Speed of the train only has to be evaluated, right? Quantity 1 is nothing but speed of the train. So let's say ST plus S2. The second body is a man, right? It crosses a man who is running at a speed of 5 km per hour. So speed of the second body is 5. Speed of the train plus speed of the second body, man, is equal to length of the first body plus length of the second body by 10. The length of the first body here is train, whose length is 350, plus length of the second body. Second body is a man, for which the length is considered to be 0, right? Negligible. Upon time, what is the time? 36 seconds. That's it. From this, can you not find out speed of the train? Yes, and that becomes a quantity 1. Now the point to be noted is, what we have on the left hand side here in terms of number is 5, and this is 5 kilometers per hour. And what we have got on the right hand side here is 350 meters, 0 meters, 36 seconds, which means right hand side is in the terms of meters per second. But this meters per second has to be converted to kilometers per hour. How do you do? Multiply by 18 by 5. Yes or no? Now both the sides are balanced. Both of them have now become in terms of kilometers per hour. So simplify now. So 18 here goes 2 times, right? So I think on the right hand side we have 350 divided by 2 into 5, 10. 350 by 10 is 35. ST plus 5 equals to 35, which means ST is 30. 30, right? 30 kilometers per hour. Quantity 2 now. Compare quantity 2. Find out what is quantity 2. Average speed of Monica for the entire journey, right? Average speed for the entire journey when she covers a certain distance at the speed of 48 kilometers per hour and travels back at a speed of 32 kilometers per hour to go to her initial position. Now, if you actually look at this, Monica, let's say, has covered from point A to point B. From point A to point B. At what speed? She covered that at the speed of 48 kilometers per hour. But then she traveled back to the same position, same initial position at the speed of 32 kilometers per hour. So basically, the distance covered in both the onward and in both the to and fro journey is same. And we have a shortcut, right? When the distance covered is same, the average speed becomes what? 2s1 s2 by s1 plus s2. We have discussed all these things in our videos on time and distance. So just refer to that. Again, do not write the formula in the exam. It's a waste of time. You should directly find out the answer by substituting the values. So here the average speed, which is quantity 2, will come out to be 2 into s1 s2. What is s1? 48. s2 is 32. So 2 into 48 into 32 upon s1 plus s2. 48 plus 32, which becomes 80. You're getting it? 2s1 s2 by s1 plus s2. Now simplify this. I think this is 6 eighths. This is 10 eighths. 2 into 6, 12. 12 into 32 by 10. Right? 2 6 are 12. 12 into 30. How much is 12 into 32? 384. 384 by 10 would be 38.4. 38.4. And now you have to compare. So quantity 1 is 30. Quantity 2 is 38.4. So clearly quantity 1 is less than quantity 2. And hence option 2 is the answer. Right? Okay. Now my concern here is, hold on. Yeah. So guys, I think I'm glad that most of you have got the right answer, which is quantity 1 less than quantity 2, option 2. But the problem I have is when I have asked you to tell me what values you had got, the first response was 10 and 40. That quantity 1 is 10 and quantity 2 is 40. Now this is what worries me, right? When you've got the right answer, it was just by chance. You did not solve it properly. So ideally, those who had mentioned that they've got 10 and 40 as the two values, as the two quantities, have got the wrong answer, right? They are lucky that their values also satisfied the same condition, that quantity 1 is less than quantity 2. So you have to be extremely careful, right? The answers that we get here are 30 and 38.4. I think now I see some of you mentioning 38.4, but otherwise I think 30, 40, like Sai Kiran had mentioned that the values are 30 and 40. Now both are, first one is correct, second one is wrong, right? How do you guys get 40? Venkat and Sai Kiran, they've got 40. Venu Madhavi also got 40. Vinod Rathod had mentioned correct. Vinod Rathod had mentioned that the average of Monica is 38.4, but he got the speed of the train as 25 by 3, which again is wrong. Now I'll tell you what the problem is. All those who have got 40 as the answer to the second quantity are not fit for the exam. Now I'm sounding blunt, and I'm actually trying to be blunt. If you have got 40 as the answer for the second quantity there, you are not fit for the exam. I know what you have done. The speed given in the forward journey is 48 and in the return journey is 32. He's asked us to find out the average speed. What is average speed? Average of the speeds. So 38 plus 42 or 48 plus 32 divided by 2. 80 by 2, 40 kilometers per hour. Absolute nonsense. This is not a mistake. It's a crime. I had very clearly mentioned in the video that we had done on time and distance that average speed is not the average of speeds. Average speed is not the average of speeds. But what have you guys done? All those who have got 40, I know they've calculated the average speed as 40 plus 32 by 2, which shows that you're not thorough with the basics. You're not thorough with the basics. Vinod Rathod, he has got speed of the train as 25 by 3. Looks like he has not converted the units on the right hand side, right? 350 by 10. 350 by whatever, 36, right? I don't know why you go wrong there. The speed of the train has come out to be 30, you've got 25 by 3. So I'm assuming that you have not done the conversion. And you cannot afford to commit such mistakes, right? Somveer also got 25 by 3 and 32 by 3. Wrong. Your answer is right, but you are wrong. 25 by 3 and 32 by 3 are not the values. Kshitij has got 499 by 18 and 100 by 9. I don't know what calculations you guys have done. Right? Akshay Patel has got 40 and 38. Venu Madhavi has got 10 and 40. So what are you guys doing? These are very, very basic questions. I mean, what we have solved now is a sitter in my view. Two simple calculations to be done. Two very basic concepts of time and distance, and you have moved up, right? Yeah, Venu Madhavi says that we did average of two speeds. Why? Who asked you to do the average of two speeds? Okay, Somvi says he's got both the speeds in meters. Okay, then fine. 25 by 3 and 32 by 3. So disappointing. I mean, I'm being very honest. Yeah, it's disappointing to find that you are not able to solve even the basic questions from these topics. Anyway, let's move on. I think we're at 7. Let's solve as many questions as possible. So I'm sharing my screen again to present the next question to you all. And here we go. Here's the next question. Now this is from Time and Work. Looks like a question from Time and Work. It says Santu and Mantu together earn rupees 9,520 in 17 days. Santu and Chantu together earn 5,170 in 11 days, and all the three persons together earn 6,240 in 8 days. Now, quantity 1, according to this question, is the 5 days earning of Mantu, and quantity 2 is 6 days earning of Santu. Compare. 1 minute, your time starts now. Done? Okay, Sushant Singh has mentioned that Mantu's earning is 1550 and Santu's is 1500, which means quantity 1 is greater than quantity 2. And yeah, I appreciate that this time all of you have given the actual values so that you prove yourself right. Yeah. Option 1 is what most of you have got, right? Akshay Patel, Vinay, Ayushi Tripathi, Preeti, Anil, and Shomu Banerjee, Hitesh, Somware, Tanya, Vinod, Sushant, Gayatri. Good. So I think option 1, quantity 1 greater than quantity 2. Let's take it up. See what the question reads. Santu and Mantu together earn rupees 9,520 in 17 days. Santu and Chantu together earn rupees 5,170 in 11 days. All the three persons together earn rupees 6,240 in 8 days. Okay, just give me a second. Yeah. So here's the question. Santu and Mantu together earn rupees 9,520 in 17 days. Santu and Chantu together earn rupees 5,170 in 11 days. And all the three persons together earn rupees 6,240 in 8 days. Now, what is quantity 1? 5 days earning of Mantu. What is quantity 2? 6 days earning of Santu. So basically, a question on time and work, or not really time and work. It can be treated as a general question as well, right? So he says that Santu and Mantu together earn rupees 9,520 in 17 days. Then Santu and Chantu together earn rupees 5,170 in 11 days. And all the three persons together make 6,240 in 8 days. So let's assume Santu's earning is S per day, M per day for Mantu, and for Chantu it is C per day, right? This is what they earn every day. So 17 days, in 17 days, Santu will earn how much? 17 into S. And Mantu will earn what? 17 into M. This total comes out to be 9,520. You getting it? Each day's earning is S and M respectively. So 17 days, 17S and 17M. The sum of which comes out to be 9,520. Similarly, if you frame the equations for the other statements here, Santu and Chantu together earn 5,170 in 11 days. So 11S plus 11C equals to 5,170. 11S plus 11C is equal to 5,170. And then all the three persons together earn 6,240 in 8 days. So all three work for 8 days. So 8S plus 8M plus 8C. This comes out to be what? 6,240. 6,240. So basically 3 equations with 3 unknowns, right? What are the unknowns here? S, M, and C. We got to solve these 3. Then he is asking us to find out 5 days earning of Mantu. So this is basically 5M equals to what? And then next quantity 6 days earning of Santu. So 6S is equal to what? 5M and 6S. So let's try and solve this. What happens? I think let's try and simplify each of the equations first, right? I think let's see if 952 is divisible by 17. See, 17 into 5 or 50 is 850, and then we have 102 left, right? So 56 times. So I think this will be 560, right? 17 can be taken common. We get 560 here. Then can 11 be taken common here? 5 plus 7, 12 minus 1, 11. Yeah, it is divisible by 11, right? So 5,170 divided by 11. How much do we get? Or 517 divided by 11. So 440 plus 77. So 47 times, right? I'm splitting 517 as 440 plus 77. So 40 times plus 7 times, 47 times. So if we take 11 common, 47 into 10, 470 times. And take 8 common here, 6,240, right? So 6,000 goes 75 times and 240 goes 30 times. So sorry, 6,000 goes 750 times, not 75 times. 750 times and then 240 goes 30 times. So 750 plus 30, 780. So 8 can be taken common and we get 780. So these are the equations basically. S plus M 560, S plus C 470, S plus M plus C 780. And now if I combine these two equations, what do we get? See, 2S plus M plus C. 2S plus M plus C equals to 560 and 470, 900 and 130, 1030. And then this equation is what? S plus M plus C equals to 780. So M and C gets cancelled here if you subtract the second equation. 2S minus S. S comes out to be what? 1030 minus 780. So 120 plus 30, 150. Sorry. 220 plus 30, 250, not 150. And if S is 250, what else do we need? We need M, right? So if S is 250, M will be how much? 560 minus 250. I mean, this is what you need to do, right? M will be from the first equation here, 560 minus 250. So 560 minus 250 is going to be 310. Now substitute this back. 5M, 5 into 310, which is 1550. And 6S, so 6 into 250, which is 1500. Yeah, so 1550 is clearly more than 1500. So quantity 1 is greater than quantity 2, and hence option 1 has to be answered. Okay. Don't waste your time in finding out C. I think all those who have found the value of C here have wasted their precious few seconds. Why do we need C? Focus on what is the requirement, right? Requirement is M and S. So try to get S first and then from that try and get M. Unless it is really needed. I mean, I don't think we need to find out C here. Of course, it takes maybe 2 more seconds to find out the value of C. S plus C is 470, right? So from 470 subtract S 250. If you subtract 470, 250 from 470, we get 220. So C equals to 220 doesn't take any time, not more than 2-3 seconds. But why? Why do we even spend those 2-3 precious seconds in finding out something that is not relevant? Right? So answer is option 1, quantity 1 greater than quantity 2. Let's move to the next one. Okay, here's the next question. This probably is the last one on these quantities here. So let's see. 1 minute again. This has got some geometry involved in it, some mensuration involved in it, right? So it says given that D is the midpoint of AC and BC is the diameter of the circle, and the circumference of the circle is 44 centimeters. The quantity 1 here is the area of shaded region, and quantity 2 is 7 pi centimeters square. Good. I think interesting question. You have 1 minute for this again. Your time starts now. Got it? Sumitra says, please tell the AB value. AB is 14. So I thought it's clear enough, but okay. AB is 14. Sumitra, I'll give you maybe a few more seconds. Quick. Well, the time is up, but quick. So Vinay says it is 23 versus 22. So quantity 1 greater than quantity 2. Vinod says 11.5 versus 22. So quantity 1 less than quantity 2. So confusion here. Well, I thought you would not make a mistake here, but diagram is not visible is what some of you mentioned. Let's take it up now. Let's solve this. See what the question says. Given that D is the midpoint of AC and BC is diameter of circle and circumference of the circle is 44 centimeters. So we have been given some information here that D is the midpoint of AC. BC is the diameter of the circle and the circumference of the circle is 44 centimeters. So I'll just redraw this diagram, right? So there's a triangle that we have here, ABC, ABC. D is the midpoint of AC. D is the midpoint of AC. So D is the midpoint here. Of course, this is a right angle triangle, as you can clearly see. Then BC is the diameter of a circle. So there is a circle here, right? Circle with diameter BC. So what is happening here is, I mean, it's not, it doesn't look like a circle, but I'm sure you will adjust, right? And the circumference of the circle is 44. Circumference of the circle is 44. So basically we connect B and D here. It's asking us to find out, I mean, we have to compare quantities here. Quantity 1 is the area of the shaded region. Now there's some shading done here, you can see, right? So quantity 1 is the area of the shaded region. And what is quantity 2? Quantity 2 is 7 pi. Quantity 2 is directly given to us, 7 pi. All we need to do is find out quantity 1. Now, the data points given here, I mean, in terms of numerical values, that AB is 14. This is 14, AB, right? The leg of the triangle is 14. And then circumference of the circle. Circumference of the circle is 44 centimeter. The circumference is 2 pi r, which is equal to 44. Simplify and get the value of r here. 2 into 22 by 7 into r is 44. So these get cancelled and we have r equals to 7. So radius is 7. Radius is 7. Okay. Now, how do we find out the shaded region is the question. The area of the shaded region. I think one simple way of doing it is take half of the circle, area of half of the circle, and from that subtract the area of the triangle BDC. You're getting it? Quantity 1. Area of shaded region. You don't have to write this in the exam. I'm just doing a clear explanation, right? Area of shaded region. It will be equal to what? Half circle minus area of BDC. BDC. You understand? So half circle would mean this part of the circle, right? From that, if you subtract BDC, you will get the remaining area, which is the shaded region. Now, what is area of half circle? Half into pi r square. Pi is 22 by 7 into r square is 7 into 7. Minus area of triangle BDC. Now, if you see, triangle BDC is also a right angle triangle because, again, I mean, this involves a little bit of geometry, but from the diameter, I mean, if you look at it, since this vertex of the triangle falls on the circumference of the circle, this is going to be a 90-degree angle. You able to follow? The theorem on circles, right? I mean, I'm sure this is a basic theorem. Most of us know this. It's going to be right angle triangle. Right angle triangle area is very easy. Half into base into height. But see, how do we get the base and height here? One important point to be observed here is how do we get the area of the triangle? Okay. We do not know what is BD and CD there, right? Okay, can we say that the area of the triangle is half of the area of the full triangle? BDC is half of ABC. Yes or no? By the way, this is also 14 if you see. Right? Radius is 7. See, this is 7. This is 7. 7 and 7 will make the diameter 14. So we know the base of the triangle 14. We know the perpendicular triangle 14. So we can find out the area of this triangle ABC. Half of that should be this triangle BDC, right? BC equals to 14. Yeah? Yeah, I think let's go by that. Let's forget about this. Let's see what happens. So half of, I mean, basically area of, or I would say, let's write differently. Instead of finding out BDC directly, of course, BDC is what we are trying to find out, but in a different way. We're saying half of area of this triangle ABC. Now, half of, what is area of the triangle? Half into base into height. Half into base into height. Base is 14 and height is also 14. Simplify now. So 7 and 7 gets cancelled. 2 goes 11 times. 11 sevens is 77. Minus this 7 and 7 times. 7 into 7 is 49. So how much is this? 77 minus 49 is 28, right? 28. This is 28. Yes or no? Half circle is very simple. Half of area of the triangle ABC. Because BDC, triangle BDC can be taken as half of triangle ABC here. So half of ABC. Now again, ABC being a right angle triangle, we can say area is half into base into height. So half of half into base into height. So that comes out to be 49. 77 minus 49 is 28. That is 28. What is quantity 2? Quantity 2 is 7 pi. 7 into 22 by 7. 7 gets cancelled, we get 22. Simple. This is 28, quantity 1, and 22, quantity 2. So clearly quantity 1 is greater than quantity 2. Hence option 1 has to be the answer, right? Option 1 has to be the answer. All right? How is AB 14? Somebody has asked. AB is 14 given. It's given in the question. See, AB is 14. They have mentioned the value here. All right, let's move to the next one now. I think so. The idea is, these questions on two quantities. Let me get back to the video. Yeah. So simple. You just have to find out the two values, the two quantities, and then compare them. Right. All uh, all it takes is a little bit of more time when compared to a usual question, because two of the questions have to be solved to arrive at an answer. Fine. Now let me share the screen again and present the next set of questions to you. And here we go. Okay, so I think we've got the next set here. These are questions on case led, I guess, right? Case led or case study. You see, 3 or 4 questions have been asked. Yeah, there's some data based on which. Yeah. So I leave you with the first question. Try this out. I'm sure after solving the first one, answering the second, third, and fourth question would be a lot easier for you guys. Okay, so you have like 2 minutes for trying out the first one. Now I'm giving you 2 minutes for the first one because you got to read the data, understand it fully, and then attempt the question. And from the next one onwards, you don't have to read the data again. So yeah, a little bit of more time for the first one, and the time starts now. Got it? All right, 50 units is what I see that most of you have got the answer as, right? Now, before we proceed and look at the solution, I would like you guys to explain as to what has made you get 50 units as the answer. Hitesh has got 50. Ayush Tripathi also got 50. Sushant Singh, then Rishika Menon, Anil Saini, Ambut Sharma, Ashish, Tanya, Monica, Harshit, Roshni, Pallavi. All of you have got 50. Vinod Kumar has got 20, option 1. So all those who have got 50, can you please explain why do you think 50 is the answer? Priyanka Singh has also got 50. So why do you think 50 is the answer? Tanya Karmakar has said that 2 hours weaving is the limitation here. 2 hours of weaving is the limitation here. Ayush Tripathi has mentioned that the minimum is 50, 90, 100. So minimum in 100, 50, 90, 100 is 50. So it is 50. Yeah. So shall we take it up now? All right. So let's take this next set of questions. Look at the directions here. Answer these questions based on the information given. So what is the information? Fabric has to go through 3 stages of manufacturing, right? What are the 3 stages? Spinning, weaving, and dyeing. In Rangoon Fabric Company, there are 6 spinning machines, 10 weaving machines, and 5 dyeing machines. Each machine works for 10 hours a day. 1 unit of fabric crepe needs 40 minutes on a spinning machine, 2 hours on a weaving machine, and 30 minutes on a dyeing machine in order to be completed. Similarly, 1 unit of fabric satin needs 60 minutes on a spinning machine, 4.5 hours, 4.5 hours on a weaving machine, and 30 minutes on a dyeing machine in order to be completed. So that's the data given to us, right? What does it say? Any fabric has to go through 3 stages of manufacturing, which are spinning, then weaving, and dyeing. These 3 have to be done. Now there is this fabric company, Rangoon Fabric Company, where we have got 6 spinning machines, right? 6 spinning machines. We have got 10 weaving machines, and we have got 5 dyeing machines. All right, and each machine works for 10 hours a day. Each machine works for 10 hours a day. So if you see, the 3 categories are spinning, weaving, and dyeing. How many machines each? 6 spinning machines. We have got 10 weaving machines and 5 dyeing machines. This is the number of machines. Now look at the number of hours for which they work. See, each machine works for 10 hours. So 6 into 10, 60 hours. 10 into 10, 100 hours. 50 into 10, 50 hours. You getting it? Each number of machines is 6, 10, and 5. But since each machine works for 10 hours a day, we can say the number of machine hours, right? Spinning machine hours, 60. Weaving machine hours, 100. And dyeing machine hours, 50 again. Right? 50. Now look at the next point. It says 1 unit of the crepe fabric needs 40 minutes on dyeing on spinning machine. It needs 2 hours on weaving machine. And it needs 30 minutes on dyeing machine in order to be completed. Which means for 1 unit of crepe, what do you have to do? You have to spend 40 minutes on spinning, 2 hours on weaving, and 30 minutes on dyeing. Right? Understand? And I'm trying to find out the number of units of crepe that can be done individually by each of these machines. Right? So number of units of that fabric crepe. Right? So the point is, like we know, this this fabric crepe would need how much time on the spinning machine? It needs 40 minutes on the spinning machine. You know that the spinning machine will work for how many hours? 60 hours. So for how many units the spinning can be done is the question. You getting it? And the question is for how many units for how many units of crepe fabric can the spinning be done? See, I know that the crepe fabric uh, takes 40 minutes. The total spinning that can be done is 60 hours by these machines. So 60 when divided by 40 minutes. 40 minutes is 2 by 3 hours. You're able to follow? 60 divided by 2 by 3. 40 minutes is equal to 2/3 of an hour, right? So 60 divided by 2 by 3. 60 divided by 2 by 3 is how much? 90. So basically we can say that for 90 units, the spinning of crepe fabric can be done. Right? The spinning for 90 units of crepe fabric can be done. 90. Now look at weaving. It says the same crepe fabric will need 2 hours on weaving. So 100 by 2. How much is that? 50. That means for 50 units, the weaving can be done. And then it needs 30 minutes on the dyeing machine. 30 minutes on the dyeing machine, which means 30 minutes is half an hour, right? So 50 by half an hour. 50 by 1 by 2, which comes out to be what? 100. So if you observe, we can do spinning for 90 units, we can do weaving for 50 minutes, and we can do dyeing for 100 minutes. Now the question is, how many units of crepe fabric can be completed at most? At most is maximum. So maximum, how many units of crepe fabric can be completed? See, a unit is complete only when spinning plus weaving plus dyeing is done. Only when all the three processes are done, then only a unit is considered to be complete. Here, 90 units spinning can be done, 50 units weaving can be done, and 100 units of dyeing can be done. So for us to find out at most units, you have to take the minimum of the three values that we have got, 90, 50, and 100. Because even though I can do 90 units of spinning, only 50 of this can be weaved. Even though we can do 100 units of dyeing, only 50 of this can be weaved. Right? So always the minimum has to be considered. Minimum here is 50. So your answer to this question will be option 4. You're getting it? So spinning for 90 units can be done, weaving for 50 units can be done, and dyeing for 100 units can be done. But we got to consider the minimum because for the unit to be complete, all the three processes have to be done. So minimum 50 here. So 50 from this can be taken. Right? So maximum 50 units can be done. Not more than that. Maximum 50 units can be done. So that's how you solve these questions. Similarly, we have been given the requirements for satin fabric. Right? Satin fabric needs 60 minutes on the spinning machine, 4.5 hours on the weaving machine, and 30 minutes on the dyeing machine. So if there's a question, similar question based on satin, you have to consider those values. Okay, let's look at the next one. Look at the next question. Okay, here's the next one. Try this now. If 20 units of satin fabric are made in a day, how many units of crepe can be completed in the same day? Right? The next question says 20 units of fabric satin are made in a day. 20 units of satin are made in a day. So how many units of crepe can be completed in the same day is the question. You have 1 minute for this. Let's see how many of you get right answer. Correct? 45 units. I think Rishika, Vinod Rathod, and Anil. These are the three guys who have got the answer to this question so far, and all three of them have got 45. I'll wait for others to respond. Mohit Wankade has mentioned that he's not getting the meaning of the question. And I see that all others have got 45. I actually want you guys to tell me why have you got, I mean, how did you get 45? More than the answer, how you have got the answer is important. I'm glad that all of you got the same response. Not many though, only 4 or 5 of you. Rishika, Kiran, Anil, Sushant, Ashish, Harshit, Sachin. Why 45 is the question now? Sushant Singh says, can you explain the question? So I think, Sushant, the question here, in my view, means that if 20 units of satin are made in a day, how many units of crepe can be completed the same day? See, we know the capacity of their spinning machines, weaving machines, and dyeing machines in terms of number of hours, right? So from that, you remove the capacity which will be consumed for making 20 units of satin. Now, from the remaining capacity, how many units of crepe can be made is the question. Right? How many units of crepe can be made is the question. Akshay Patel has got none of this. On a first person to give a different answer here is Akshay Patel. He's got none of these. Hitesh says 5. So Hitesh also says none of these. Sushant Singh says, oh, then my answer would be none of this. I think after explaining the question, he's feeling that answer will be option 5, none of this. So look at this, guys. Answers are changing now. You've got some competition. Most of you had mentioned 45, but I think Sushant, Pritam, Hitesh, they've all got 5. Option 5, none of these. So just recheck your solution again, right? I will still give you 30 seconds. I wanted to recheck your solution and tell me if you still think 45 is the answer. Roshni says, I too got 5 units of crepe. So see, all those who've got 45 now are changing. Okay, let's look at the solution. See what it says. I mean, we know the data already, right? Fabric has to go through 3 stages: spinning, weaving, and dyeing. And this factory has got 6 spinning machines, 10 weaving machines, and 5 dyeing machines. So basically, 6 spinning machines is, each machine works for 10 hours a day. So 6 spinning machines meaning 60 hours. 60 hours of spinning can be done. Then 10 into 10, 100 hours of weaving can be done, and 5 into 10, 50 hours of dyeing can be done. We know the total capacities. Then we also know the requirement for crepe and satin, individually. Now look at the question. Question here now says 20 units of satin are made in a day. 20 units of satin are made in a day, right? So how many units of crepe can be completed in the same day is the question. See, the total capacity of this company is fixed. Total capacity is 60 hours of spinning, 100 hours of weaving, and 50 hours of dyeing, right? So total capacity is what? Total capacity we know is 60 hours of spinning, right? Plus 100 hours of weaving, plus 50 hours of dyeing. Now, from this total capacity, let us find out the requirement for satin. How much of satin has been made? 20 units of satin has been made, right? So satin consumption is how much? I mean, I have limited space here, so I'm trying to write an equation directly. What is the consumption for satin? See, we know that satin fabric needs 60 minutes on spinning. 60 minutes is 1 hour. You know, 1 hour on spinning. How many units have been made? So 1 hour for 1 unit, right? 1 unit of satin needs 60 minutes on spinning. So 20 units will need 20 hours. 20 into 60. You're getting it? 60 minutes is 1 hour. So 1 unit needs 1 hour. 20 units will need 20 hours. So 20 hours of spinning is gone. Plus, it needs 4.5 hours on weaving. 1 unit needs 4.5 hours. So 20 units will need how many hours? 20 into 4.5. 20 into 4.5. 90. 90 hours of weaving is already gone. And it needs 30 minutes on dyeing machine. Right? 4.5 hours of weaving and 30 minutes on dyeing machine. 30 minutes is half an hour. Half an hour for 1 unit. For 20 units, 10 hours. Yes or no? Half into 20, 10 hours. So 10 hours of dyeing is gone. Now what is the balance? Understand? The balance capacity is what? Out of 60 hours of spinning, 20 hours is consumed for satin, so remaining is 40. 40 hours of spinning is left. 10 hours of weaving is left. 100 minus 90, 10 hours of weaving. And then 50 minutes and 40 hours of dyeing is left. Now, this question is similar to the first one that we get solved. Now, what happens is we can say that the capacity of the company now is only this: 40 hours of spinning, 10 hours of weaving, and 40 hours of dyeing. So, how many units of crepe can be completed in the same day? See, again, if you look at the crepe fabric here, it needs 40 minutes on spinning machine, 2 hours on weaving machine, and 30 minutes on dyeing machine. Yes or no? So, crepe. Let's find out the. When you understood how to get that value, right? The number of units of crepe based on the individual stages, right? So, how many units of spinning, weaving, and dyeing? So, see, the total spinning time that we have is 40. Out of which crepe would need 40 minutes, 2 by 3. Total weaving time that we have is 10 hours. Crepe needs 2 hours of weaving per unit. And total dyeing time that we have now is 40 hours. But crepe needs half an hour of dyeing. So which means the number of units that can be made here is 40 by 2 by 3. How much is that? 60. 60 units of spinning can be done. 5 units of weaving can be done. And 80 units of dyeing can be done. But then, again, we have to go for minimum, right? What is minimum here? 5. You're able to follow. From the balance capacity of 40 hours of spinning, 10 hours of weaving, and 40 hours of dyeing, I can make 60 units for crepe spinning. 5 units of crepe weaving can be done. And dyeing can be done for 80 units of crepe. But for us to complete the crepe fabric, right? For us to get a complete unit of crepe fabric, all the 3 stages have to be performed. So the minimum that I can take across all 3 is 5. So I can say only 5 units can be made now. How many units of fabric crepe can be completed the same day? Only 5 units. So 5 units is the answer, which is option 5. Let me come to the video and get your reaction. Why? Why did you all get 45 as the answer in the first attempt? Not one, I think 2, not 1 or 2. At least 10 to 15 guys gave the answer as 45. Why? It is same company, right? In the same company, if satin has already been made, how can you make, more of crepe than the balance capacity? You're getting it? So all those who got 45 are wrong. Now, if you all have followed this, I can move to the next one. Shiti says, now I got the question completely. It's interesting. Amit Verma has got it. Any confusions? Quick. Can we go to the next one? Follow? Yeah. Yeah, I think easy. You can just make 5 units of crepe after having made 20 units of satin, right, from that company. And even if you have not followed it, I would say just watch this video again once it gets added to your learning account by tomorrow end of the day, and you will get the idea. Let me share the screen and present the next question to you. Okay, here's the next one. If only 30 units of satin are made in a day, how many machine hours will be idle that day? If only 30 units of satin are made in a day, how many machine hours may be idle that day? Okay, Preeti, I just saw your message that you have not followed it. But since we have already moved to the next one, I would request you to watch the archive of this video that gets added to your account by tomorrow. If you still don't follow it, you can post it in the discussion forums. Try this one now. 30 units of satin are made. How many machine hours will be idle that day? So it's simple now. Find out how many machine hours are required for 30 units of satin. Balance is idle. Got it? 135. Arpita Majumdar has got 135. Uh, Then we have Akshay who's got 30, Sushant Singh, Hitesh have got 30, 135. I think only 4 of you have responded so far, and 3 of those responses are 135 and 1 is 30. Okay, 15 more seconds and then we'll take up the next one. Okay, there's some doubt there. Let me just check. Harshit says, how can 30 units of fabric satin be made if there are only 100 hours per weaving? Yeah. So that looks like that's what I was waiting for somebody to raise, right? Rishika Menon has also mentioned the same thing, that if 30 units cannot be made, as weaving hours won't be sufficient. So I don't know how others have got 135. Monica, Tanya, and Shalini and also got the same doubt. Yeah. All right. So let's take it up now. So the next question here says, if only 30 units of fabric satin are made in a day, how many machine hours will be idle that day? If only 30 units of fabric satin are made in a day, how many machine hours will be idle? Now we know that we have got 60 hours of spinning, we have got 100 hours of weaving, and 50 hours of dyeing, right? Available through the day. Now to make 30 units of fabric satin, see 30 units of satin, 30 units of satin equals to what? 30 into 2 by 3 hours of spinning, right? Plus, 30 into, so for satin, right? Sorry, not 2 by 3. It is satin. Satin here needs 60 minutes. Sorry. 30 into 1 hour of spinning plus 30 into 4.5, right? 30 into 4.5 hours of weaving plus 30 times of 30 minutes. 30 minutes is half an hour, right? So 0.5 hours of dyeing. 0.5 hours of dyeing. So what's the total requirement? We need 30 hours of spinning plus we need 30 into 4.5. 30 into 4.5 is how much? 135, right? 135 hours of weaving plus 30 into 0.5, which is 15 hours of dyeing. 15 hours of dyeing. Now, if you see, the total capacity is 60 hours of spinning, of which 30 hours is consumed. So 30 hours is idle. Similarly, for dyeing, 50 hours is the total capacity, of which 15 hours is consumed. So remaining 35 hours are idle. But the problem comes here. We have got only 100 hours of weaving capacity. But what 30 units of satin require here is 135 hours of weaving, which is not possible. So actually, 30 units of satin, 30 units of satin cannot be made in a day. Yeah, no, because we will run out of the weaving capacity. While spinning and dyeing is okay for making 30 units, the weaving capacity that we have is only 100 hours. But what 30 units of satin requires is 135 hours. I think 30 units of satin cannot be made in a day. So ideally, answer should be, it's not possible. It is an impossible event. But since that is not given in the options, we'll say option 5 numbers. Now, assume that it is some other value. Instead of 30, if it is some other value, like 10 units of fabric. Then what do? That's it. Same, do the calculation and subtract the remaining hours to get the balance. You're able to follow? So let me change the question now. I'm changing it to 10 units. Let's assume it is 10 units. And now do the calculation for 10 units. So what happens? This will become 10 into 1. This will become 10 into 4.5. This will become 10 into 0.5. So this will become 10 into 1, 10 hours of spinning. 10 into 4.5, 45 hours of weaving. And 10 into 0.5, 5 hours of dyeing. So if you see idle machine hours, right? What will the idle machine hours? Out of 60, 10 is consumed. So 60 minus 10, 50 is idle. Plus out of 100, 45 is consumed. So 100 minus 45, which is 55 is idle. And out of this 50 hours here, only 5 is consumed. So 50 minus 5, which is 45 again. So 60 minus 10, 50. 100 minus 45, 55. 50 and 55 is 105. And this is 45, 150 hours. So we can say 150 hours of machine time is idle. Right? 150 hours of machine time is idle. Given the assumption that it is not 10, 30 units, but 10 units. So this is how you solve it, right? But then for the given case, since it is 30 units, answer would be none of this because 30 units of satin cannot be made in a day. You're able to follow? So this is how you solve it. Let's go to the next question. Okay, here's the next one. Quick. Try and solve this. If one more dyeing machine is added, at the most, how many more units of the fabric crepe can be made in a day? If one more dyeing machine is added, at the most, how many units of the crepe fabric can be made? So one dyeing machine is added. One dyeing machine is added means what? The capacity is increased for dyeing alone. So the capacity of dyeing is increased. Then how many more units of the crepe fabric can be made in a day is the question. 1 minute again. Time starts now. Got it? Option 1, 0 hours. I mean 0 units is what I see as the response, right? Arpita, Harshit, Sushant, Vinay, Tanya, Ambuj, Rishika, Hitesh. I see Anil Seni giving 5 as the answer to this question, option 3. So Anil is the only one who's got option 3. All others have got option 1, which is 0. All right, let's take this up now. See what it says. So the next question here says, if one more dyeing machine is added, at the most, how many more units of the crepe fabric can be made in a day? Right. So what I'm doing, we are including one more dyeing machine. So at the most, how many more units, how many additional units of the fabric crepe can be made in a day is the question. See, the current capacity is spinning is 60 hours, weaving is 10 into 10, 100 hours. Dyeing, what happens? One more machine is added, right? So instead of 5, the number of machines now becomes 6. Now 6 into 10, 60 hours. So which means 60 hours of dyeing can be done. 60 hours of spinning can be done. 100 hours of, 100 hours of weaving can be done, and 60 hours of dyeing can be done. Now, how many more units of crepe fabric can be made into this is the question. Now, for the crepe fabric, we know that the requirement is, this is like 2 by 3 hours, let's say. 2 by 3 hours of spinning, 2 hours of weaving, and 30 minutes of dyeing. The problem is, if you recollect, in the first question itself, we have found that what is the maximum number of units of crepe fabric that can be made. What did we find? See, we have got 60 hours of spinning available. Crepe needs 2 by 3 hours of spinning per machine, per unit. So for 1 unit of crepe, or the number of units of crepe that can be made, let's find out. I don't have that answer saved here. Otherwise, I would have referred to my notes where I have solved it and check what was the calculation done, right? Number of units of crepe that can be done initially is how much? See, 60 upon 2 by 3, which is equal to 90, right? Plus 100 upon 2, right? 100 upon 2, which is 50, plus initially let's find out. I mean, initially it was not 6 machines, right? It was 5 machines only. So 5 by 2, 50 by 2. Sorry, 50 by how much is this? 30 minutes, 0.5. 50 by 0.5, which is equal to 100. You understand? This is what we had calculated initially, right? This is spinning, here is weaving, and this is dyeing. So we know that spinning can be done for 90 units, weaving can be done for 50 units, and dyeing can be done for 100 units. The point is, we have already exhausted the complete weaving capacity. We know that number of units that can be made, number of units of crepe will be equal to 50, which is the minimum of 90, 50, and 100, right? The minimum from 90, 50, and 100, right? What is the minimum value? 50 is the minimum value. So we can say 50 units can be made. The point is, after making 50 units, the total capacity of weaving is exhausted already. 100 units of weaving capacity, 100 hours of weaving capacity is exhausted. So even if you add a dyeing machine, if one more dyeing machine is added, let me not consider 60 here, because we have considered 50 only, right, initially. So even one more dyeing machine inclusion here will not help, because we have already exhausted the total weaving capacity, right? What would have helped here is adding a weaving machine and not a dyeing machine, because if you add a weaving machine, more units can be weaved, and of course we have already additional units left in spinning and dyeing here. You're able to follow? So adding one more dyeing machine will add no value in this manufacturing of crepe fabric. So answer should be 0. Option 1, 0. All right. So with this, I think we come to the end of this particular question on case theory, or case let's say, right? Let's now move on to the next one. I think time is already up. It's 8, but I would like to take one more question on data interpretation, that being a little important topic for this BPO mains exam, right? So let's just discuss that, right? But I think what I would suggest is not to panic too much about this section. It's going to be easy, provided you're strong in your calculation, right? I mean, if you can do your calculations quickly, it's all about numbers. If you see what you've done in these last 4 or 5 questions, right? Just look at the numbers, find out minimum, maximum, average, ratio, percentage, etc. Right? So calculation is the key. I think that's the takeaway. Let me now share the screen and present the next question to you all. Okay. Yeah. So let me share the screen. Well, I had a lot more questions, but we got to focus more on DI. So let me take up something on data interpretation. Yeah, so this is what we've just done. And here's the next question. Okay, so this is on data interpretation. I think a mixed graph, right? We have been given three parts here, three components here. One is a table, and then there are two pie charts. And there's too much of data, so I think it's a little congested, but try and understand this. It says, read the following data properly to understand the given questions, right? Read the following data properly to understand the given questions, and of course, solve the given questions. So the data here says 7 organizations have been enlisted to take the tender for conducting online test by SBI. If no single organization secures a simple majority of 50% in the first round, then the top 5 organization, in terms of number of candidates qualified from that organization in the first round, will be moved to the next round. If no one still gets majority, then the top 3 of that round will go to the next round. If the decision is still not decisive in favor of any one organization, only the top 2 proceed in the last round. So I think basically this is like round 1, right? This is round 2, and this is a table here. So there are 7 organizations according to the question. Let me explain this to you, right? 7 organizations, A, B, C, D, E, F, G are the 7 organizations. The table here gives you the names of the organizations, the ratio of candidates who have attempted the prelims versus mains, right? Ratio of candidates who have attempted prelims is to mains. So from organization A, the ratio of candidates who have attempted prelims versus mains is 10:1. For B, it is 3:1, and so on. And then the third column here talks about the male is to female ratio for the candidates who have qualified in the prelims. Right? Male is to female ratio for the candidates who have qualified in the prelims. Now, this is going to be a little congested. I mean, I know many of you will complain about the screen resolution, but there being too much of data here, I don't see a better way of presenting it, right? Try and understand. Like, first is the name of the organization very clearly, right? Here's the organization name. This is the prelims is to mains ratio, and this is the male is to female ratio in the prelims exam for different organizations. Now, this first one here is the round 1. Let me just mention that this is a round 1, right? I mean, this is like round 1, which is nothing but the preliminary examination, and this is round 2. Right? So in round 1, he says candidates who have qualified in prelims was 5 lakhs. Now, this data is for prelims, right? Round 1, which is prelims examination. And this is round 2 for mains examination. Right? So the candidates who have qualified in prelims is 5 lakhs. The candidates qualified in mains is 4,000 only. Right? 4,000 only. And percentage from each organization is given. So out of 100% of candidates who have qualified, 8% came from A, 20% from B, 5% from C, 15% from D, and so on. Now the point given here is if no single organization gets a simple majority of 50% in the first round. So this is the first round, right? Nobody has got a majority of 50%. Everybody is less than 50%. So if nobody gets a majority of 50%, then top 5 organizations in terms of number of candidates are moved to the next round. Will be moved to the next round. So top 5 organizations will move to the next round. So which are the top 5 here? I think the top is E, because it has got 28%. Then we have B, which has got 20%. Then we have D, which has got 15%, F, which has got 14%, and G. So if you see C and A get eliminated, right? C gets eliminated, A also gets eliminated because they are not in the top 5. So remaining organizations go for the mains round, the next round. Now in the next round again, this is the breakup given to us, breakup of candidates who got qualified. And remember that in the first round, which is in the preliminary examination, there were 5 lakh candidates who got selected. In the second round, mains examination, 4,000 got selected. So I think that's the data. Names of the organizations, the ratio of candidates who have appeared from these organizations in prelims versus mains, right? The ratio of males to females in the prelims. Then there's a breakup of candidates for the prelims examination, breakup of candidates for the mains examination. Okay, remember that if nobody gets a clear majority of 50%, then they have taken the top 5 in the mains round. Okay. Similarly, here also, if let's say nobody had, now you can see that in the second round, where we have percentages breakup given, clearly B has got a majority of 52%. So organization B will win the tender. If here also nobody gets a clear majority, then they would have taken the top three. That's what they have mentioned, right? If still no one gets a majority, then the top three will go to the next round. Top three will go to the next round. Right? So that's how they're working. Either you should get a 50% majority or they will take the top five in the first round. Similarly, you should get a 50% majority in the second round, otherwise they'll take the top three. But luckily, we have got a majority in the second round. B has got the majority of 52%. So we don't have to worry about that, right? Now B is definitely going to win the tender. So if it is about which company or which organization has got the tender, it is organization B. Because organization B got a majority of 52% in the second round. All right. So I think that's the data given to us. Let me leave you with the questions now, right? Yeah, so here's the first question. Try this out. Maybe because since this is the first one, I'll give you a couple of minutes to try this. Let's see how many of you get the right answer. And after that, we can take up the remaining questions. And yes, this will be the last question for the session today, right? Data interpretation set that we have. 4 or 5 questions that we have, we'll solve and close it after this. So the first question from this typical data interpretation set is on your screens now. Let's see how many of you get the right answer. So how many of you have been able to crack this one? Got it? Okay, looks like there's some alignment issue here. Let me just fix that. Yeah, so how many of you have been able to get the answer to this question here? Okay. Let me read out the responses that we have got here. Venu Madhavi has got 3. Rishika Menon has got 3. Sharmila says, since B got eliminated in the first round only, then how can we consider organization B for round 2? I'm confused here. Could you help us? Ashish says it is 4 out of 50. I don't know what it means. Sachin Singh has got option 1. Aditya Mohanty says cannot be determined. Ayushi Tripathi has got 3. Venkat has got 4. Sachin Singh has got, he's mentioned that 400 qualified for mains. 5 lakh into 11 by 15 attempted the prelims. Okay. Let me just look at the final responses that you guys have mentioned. Mohit has got cannot be determined. Vinay has got 4. Shalini has got 5. Anil Saini has got 5. So a lot of confusion here, right? Rishika has got 3. Hitesh has got cannot be determined. All right, let's discuss this now. So if you look at the data here, he has given us the names of the organizations, which are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. The ratio of candidates who have attempted prelims versus mains. So prelims is to mains ratio is given. And the qualified candidates in the preliminary examination, for them, the male is to female ratio is given. You're getting it? So the table gives you very simple data. For 7 organizations, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we have been given the ratio of candidates who appeared in the prelims is to mains exam. So 10 is to 1, 3 is to 1, 25 is to 1, 15 is to 8, and so on. And then among the candidates who have attended the prelims exam or who have qualified in the prelims exam, right? Those who have qualified in the prelims exam, for them, the male is to female ratio is given. See, qualified in prelims exam is nothing but appeared in mains exam. You understand? So those who have appeared in the mains exam, for them, the male is to female ratio is given. You got to understand, a candidate here moves from prelims to mains and from mains to interview. That's the whole process, right? So somebody who was qualified in prelims has appeared in mains. Somebody who was qualified in mains has appeared in the interview. So that clarity has to be there. So the data in the table here says candidates qualified in prelims, which means candidates who appeared in the mains. For them, the male is to female ratio is given. Then the first ratio here is about prelims is to mains, right? Now, what is the first pie chart? The candidates who have qualified in prelims was 5 lakhs. I mean, this is about the candidates who have qualified in prelims, right? The total candidates who have qualified in prelims was 5 lakhs. So the 5 lakh distribution is given to us, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The candidates who have qualified in mains was 4,000 only. And that 4,000 distribution is given here. Okay. So if you see the companies which got selected for the mains round are B, E, F, D, and G, because these are the top 5 companies, right? These top 5 companies have been considered for the next round. And again, within these top 5 companies, the distribution of candidates who got qualified in mains is given to us: 52%, 10%, 16%, 12%, and 10% again. And since B has got a clear majority of 52%, B gets the final tender, right? Like I've explained earlier, B gets the tender because it has got a majority of 52% in the next round, right? The whole point here is that a company which gets more than 50% or 50%, a company which gets 50 or more than 50% will get the tender. Whether they get that 50% in the first round or second round or third round. So in the first round, since no company got more than 50%, the top 5 were taken for the next round. In the next round, one of the companies has got more than 50%. So that company gets the tender. Suppose here again, if no single company would have got a majority, then you would have considered the top 3 for the third round, and so on. All right. Now look at the question given here. The question says the number of candidates qualified for mains from organization G is what percentage of the number of candidates who attempted prelims from the same organization. So number of candidates qualified for mains, the number of candidates who qualified for mains from organization G is what percentage of the number of candidates who attempted prelims from the same organization. So how many candidates have qualified for mains from organization G? How many candidates have qualified for mains from organization G versus the number of candidates who attempted prelims from the same organization? So if you read the question properly, this is a percentage based question, right? I mean, see, the highlight here is what percentage of. So this is like X is what percentage of, right? X being the number of candidates qualified for mains from G is what percentage of. Y, the number of candidates who attempted prelims from the same organization. Now, I don't know what kind of calculation you guys have done. It is a simple one-step answer, and that can be done even without putting pen on paper. See, look at it. For organization G, I know that the ratio of candidates who have appeared in prelims versus mains is 11:4. The ratio of candidates who appeared in prelims versus mains is 11:4. So for G, prelims is to mains, according to the data, is 11:4. 11:4. Right? So I can say 11x and 4x. I mean, you understand, for organization G, the ratio of prelims to mains is 11:4. Getting it? 11:4, according to the question, right? Prelims is to mains is 11:4. The number of candidates qualified for mains. The number of candidates qualified for mains from organization G. See, if 4 candidates, I mean 11:4. So 4 parts have appeared for mains. Can you say number of candidates qualified for mains is 4 parts? Yes or no? The number of candidates who attempted prelims in the same organization. 11 parts have attempted in prelims. So my simple answer to this question should be 4 by 11 into 100. And we're done. You're able to follow? We don't know the exact numbers, which is true. But let's assume it is 11x and 4x. Usual calculation, right? 11x. Assume that 11x candidates appeared in prelims exam and 4x candidates appeared in mains exam. That's the data. Simple. 11x candidate appeared in prelims exam and 4x candidates appeared in mains exam. From which organization? From organization G. The number of candidates qualified for mains. See, people who have attempted the mains exam are nothing but those who have got qualified for mains exam. Because you can attempt in the mains exam only if you have qualified for the mains exam. So 4x candidates have appeared in the mains exam, which means can I say 4x candidates have qualified for the mains exam? Yes. So X is what percent of Y? X by Y. X here comes out to be 4. What is Y? The number of candidates who attempted prelims from the same organization. How many attempted prelims? 11 candidates, 11x candidates. So 4x by 11x or 4 by 11 into 100. And from our speed maths video or video on percentages, you would have known, or you should know, that 4 by 11 is 36.36%. So I think within no time, in about 10 to 15 seconds, I mean 10 to 15 seconds again, because you have to understand the question. Calculation doesn't take any time. You should get 36.36 as the answer. 36.36%, option 4 is the answer. Let me come back and see how many of you have understood this. Tell me how many of you have made a mistake by doing some stupid calculation there. It was simple, 4 out of 11 into 100. How many of you have done this? While many of you have got 36.36, there was a lot of debate. Cannot be determined, 36.36, none of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the options were given. But then, how many of you have got 36.36 is question number 1. And how many of those who have got 36.36 have just done 4 by 11 into 100 as a calculation? Tell me. So you understand, how many of you have got the right answer is question number 1. How many of you have got the right answer using the SMART method is the question number 2. Right? He's asking for a particular organization, for organization G, the number of candidates who have qualified for mains is what percentage of number of candidates who have appeared in prelims. The ratio of prelims to mains is given to us 11:4. So number of people who appeared in prelims can be taken as 11 parts. Number of people who have qualified for mains can be taken as 4 parts, because people who have qualified in mains means what? People who have appeared for mains. Yes or no? When do we say you have qualified for the mains exam? I mean, if you are appearing for the mains exam, means you have qualified for the mains exam, right? You have got your mains exam on 4th of June. So if you are going to appear for your mains exam on 4th of June, it means you have qualified for your mains exam. So I know the ratio is 11:4. So 11 appeared in prelims, 4 appeared in mains, means 4 qualified in mains. So 4 qualified for mains, not 4 qualified in mains. 4 qualified for mains exam. See, there's a difference. Qualified for mains is different from qualified in mains. Qualified for the mains exam, which means those who are eligible to appear in the mains exam. Qualified in mains exam. If you have qualified in the mains exam, means you will go for the next round, which is interview. You're getting it? So candidates who have qualified for mains, 4. Candidates who have appeared in prelims, 11. 4 out of 11 to 100, 36.36. Simple calculation, right? Still, if you think you've not followed it, I would say watch this video again, right? It gets added to your account tomorrow, right? So watch that video again, and I'm sure you'll get what I'm trying to say there. Let me move to the next question, right? We're already at 8:20. Let's complete this data interpretation set quickly. So sharing the screen again. And here we go. So let me just clear this up and present the next question to you all. Here's the next one. See what it says. Total number of candidates qualified for mains from organization D is how many times the number of male candidates qualified for main exam from organization F. Again, total number of candidates qualified for mains from organization D. There's some ratio given there. Just see if that helps you. Is how many times the number of male candidates who have qualified for main exam from organization F. The time starts now. Quick. Got it? Okay, I think option 4, 3.75 is what I see as the response from many of you, right? Priyanka, Akshay, Preeti, Sushant, Hitesh, Vinay, and others there. So let's take it up now. See, the question here says total number of candidates qualified for mains from organization D is how many times the number of male candidates qualified for main exam from organization F. So let's first look at this first part here, right? Total number of candidates qualified for mains from organization D. Qualified for mains from organization D. See, qualified for means qualified in prelims. You understand? You have to understand this terminology very clearly. Qualified in prelims is equal to qualified for mains. Qualified for mains. Similarly, qualified in mains means what? Qualified for interview. That's the whole idea, right? I mean, of course, interview data has not been given here because that's not relevant. Organization B anyway got the tender. But yeah, so qualified in prelims means qualified for the mains exam. Qualified in the mains exam means qualified for the interview. So total number of candidates qualified for mains exam from organization. Qualified for mains means qualified in prelims, which is the first pie chart. How many have qualified in prelims? From D, 15%. So let's take it as 15%. 15% of what? 5 lakhs, right? Because total candidates who have qualified for mains is qualified in prelims was 5 lakhs, right? Now, this 15% of, like, let me mention 15% of 5 lakhs so that you will get confused, right? 15% of 5 lakhs is how many times? This is how many times? Now look at the next part. The number of male candidates qualified for mains exam from organization. So basically, next value is males qualified for main. From which organization? From organization F. This will be equal to what? See, qualified for main in F is same as qualified for mains in D, like similar to qualified for mains in D. How many have qualified for mains in F? 14%. 14%. Out of this 14%, how many are males is the question. That breakup is given here. Male is to female breakup is given here, 2:5. So can you say the number of males will be 2 out of 7? Yes or no? Number of males will be 2 out of 7. 2 parts out of total 7 parts, which is equal to what? This goes 2 times 4%. 4% of what? The same 5 lakhs only, right? Because it is about people who have qualified for means, which is 5 lakhs. So the first value is 15% of 5 lakhs. The second value is 4% of 5 lakhs. Now do not do this calculation here. That's not needed. He's asking us to find out that the first value is how many times the second value. You understand? Look at this. The first value is how many times the second value. So first value 15% of 5 lakhs is equal to what times the second value. How do you do that calculation? It is like this. 15% of 5L is equal to, let's say, x times of 4% of 5L. What happens? 5L gets cancelled on both the sides. This percentage also gets cancelled. What do we get? 15 equals to x by 4. Or x equals to 15 by 4. Implies x will be 15 by 4. I mean, you can do this mentally. I'm just writing it here in this complete step so that you can follow it easily, right? X comes out to be 15 by 4. 15 by 4 is how much? 3.75. That's your answer. 3.75. Option 4 will be the answer. Clear? Let's move to the next question. Okay, here's the next one. Try this out quickly. What is the ratio of number of males qualified for mains from E to the total number of candidates who appeared for prelims from organization B? Quick. This should be simple. Quick. Option 5. Vinay has got option 5, which says none of these. Cannot be determined. Akshay Patel says cannot be determined. Shushant has got none of these. Anil Saini has got 3:5. Somebody else has got 2:15. Yeah, Shushant has got 2:15. Let's take it up. So the question here says, what is the ratio of number of males qualified for mains from organization E? Let's do this first. Males for mains from organization E. Now, how many have qualified for mains from organization E? 28%. Of this, how many are males? The ratio is 3:4. So based on these two. So I think 3 out of 3 plus 4, 7 parts into 28%. This comes out to be what? Goes 4 times, right? 3 to 4, 12. 12% of, let's say, 5 lakhs. Total is 5 lakhs, right? Total qualified for mains is 5 lakhs. Then this versus the total number of candidates who appeared for prelims from organization B. Total number of candidates who appeared for prelims. Total number of candidates who appeared for prelims from the organization B. How do you get this? Well, most of you may think that number of candidates who appeared for prelims for any organization is not given. But if you look at it properly, it has been given indirectly. How is it given indirectly? See, we have to find out appeared for prelims. For which organization? For organization B. If you look at it, I know that the number of candidates who appeared for mains, qualified in prelims, is nothing but appeared for mains. From B is 20%. And from the first table, the second column here talks about prelims is to mains ratio, 3:1. So basically for organization B, the number of candidates who attempted prelims is to the number of candidates who attempted mains is 3:1. I know that the percentage of candidates who attempted mains from organization B is 20%. So I can say that this 3:1 is equal to X is to 20%. Of course, 20% of 5 lakhs. You getting it? I write that step. 3:1 is equal to, let's say, X is to 20% of 5 lakhs. Because the number of candidates who appeared for mains from organization is 20%, 20% of 5 lakhs. Number of candidates who appeared for prelims, let's say X. This ratio is given as 3:1. So what should be X? If this is 20% of 5 lakhs is one part, then what should be 3 parts? 3 into 20% of 5 lakhs, which means X will be equal to 60% of 5 lakhs. So the number of candidates who appeared for prelims from organization B is 60% of 5 lakhs. He's asking us to find out this ratio. What is the ratio of this 12% of 5 lakhs is to 60% of 5 lakhs? What is the ratio? 12 is to 15. So your final answer will be equal to what? 12 is to 60. Because 5 lakhs and 5 lakhs is common, gets cancelled. 12 is to 60 is equal to 1 is to 5. 1 is to 5, which is option 3. Right? So those all have got option 4 as the answer. Cannot be determined, assuming that the preliminary examination appearance or the number of candidates who appeared for preliminary examination is not given are wrong because it is given to us indirectly. Right? Let's look at the next one. Okay, here's the next question. What is the difference between the number of male candidates? What is the difference between the number of male candidates who cleared prelims from organization, which has finally got the tender, and the number of candidates who qualified for mains from the same organization? Quick. Got it? So Rudra Mohanty is confused about what is this finally got the tender. So I think, Rudra, you're not focused on the original set of directions given, right? A company which gets a majority of 50% in any of the rounds will get a tender. Basically, this whole drama is being done because SBI wants to give a tender to one of the companies which can conduct their online exams. For that, they are checking based on how the candidates of these companies have performed. So the company which finally got the tender is company B, because in second round they see you can see that they've got 52% majority. I think only Tanya, Pratibha, and Sumit have got the answers. Tanya and Pratibha both have got option B. Now, will you tell me why option B, 18,000 to 20? Sumit has got option 5, none of this. So let me hear it out, right? You guys have to tell me why do you think whatever we have got is the right answer. Anil Saini, Ashish, Akshay Patel, all these guys have also got 5. Pratibha has now changed the answer. Pratibha says it should be option 5. But why option 5 is the question. $40,000 minus 1 lakh. 60,000 is what Pratibha says. Anil says it should be 12% of 5 lakhs, which is 60,000. Yeah. We know there's also got 12% of 5 lakhs. All right, so let's look at it. So the question here says, what is the difference between the number of male candidates who cleared prelims from the organization which has finally got the tender, and the number of candidates who qualified for mains from the same organization? So if you actually see, we have already understood that the organization that finally got the tender is B, because in the second round, B has got a majority of 50%, right? I mean, more than 50%, of course. So finally gets the tender, right? Is organization B. So that should be very clear. So this question is about organization B. Now, what is he asking us to find out? What is the difference between the number of male candidates who cleared the prelims? Now, instead of saying, from the organization which has finally got the tender, we can say from B, right? Prelims from B. We are talking about B here. So the number of male candidates who cleared prelims from B. See, how many cleared prelims from B? 20%. 20% of 5 lakhs. So male who cleared prelims from B is equals to See, the male is to female ratio is 2:3. So 2 out of 2 plus 3, 5 into 20% of 5 lakhs. 20% of, you getting it? 2 out of 5 into 20% cleared the prelims, right? 20% cleared the prelims, out of which the male is to female distribution is 2:3. So males will be 2 out of 5 into 5 lakhs. Total 5 lakhs cleared the prelims, right? So what happens? This is like, I mean, you can do the calculation basically. 2 out of, this is like 4 times, right? 8% of 5 lakhs. 8% of 5 lakhs is 40,000, right? 40,000. Let's say this is the number. Now we have to take the difference of this with what? The number of candidates who qualified for means from the same organization. Same organization B. How many qualified for means from B? 20%. So means from B is how much? 20% of what? 5 lakhs. I mean, you could have actually taken directly. This is 8% minus 20%, 12% of 5 lakhs. But anyway, 20% of 5 lakhs is 1 lakh or 100,000. So we have to take the difference of these two, 40,000 and 100,000. What is the difference? 60,000 is the difference. Hence, your answer will be option 5, none of this. Okay, difference of these two values, 40,000 and 100,000. Okay, quickly the last one from this question, from this data. The number of candidates qualified for means from G is what percentage of total number of candidates who appeared for the exam from organization which has second lowest performance in prelims. You have 30 seconds for this. Your time starts now. Got it? 15 more seconds. The number of candidates qualified for mains from G is what percentage of total number of candidates who appeared for the exam from the organization which has second lowest performance in prelims? %12.5%. Option 5, none of these. Deepak has got option 3, 1%. Only 2 responses so far, and I think I've given you enough time. So let's look at the right solution now. We have got 2 choices, option 3, which is 1%, and option 5, which is none of these. Okay, so let's see this. The number of candidates qualified for means from G. Now this is simple. Number of candidates qualified for means from G is 10%. 10% of what? 5 lakhs, right? So I can just say that this is 10% of 5 lakhs, right? Number of candidates who qualified for means from G is 10% of 5 lakhs. Now this 10% of 5 lakhs is what percent of? Look at the other part, right? What's the other part? The total number of candidates who appeared for the exam from the organization which has second lowest performance in prelims. Now tell me which organization has second lowest performance in prelims? See, lowest here is C, 5%. Second lowest is A. Look at this. Lowest is 5%. Second lowest is 8%. So I think second lowest is A. Right? A has got only 8% of its candidates qualified, right? Candidates qualified. So second lowest is A. So basically, again, if you see, this portion, the organization which has second lowest performance can be replaced with A. Right? This is A. So basically the question now becomes look at this. The total number of candidates who appeared for the exam from A. The total number of candidates who appeared for the exams from A. Right? Total number of candidates who appeared for the exams from A. How much is that? How much is that? See, the total number of candidates who appeared for which exam, by the way? For the preliminary examination. Because see, here he's talking about preliminary examination or mains examination? Mains examination. Right? Total number of candidates who appeared for the exam from the organization which has second lowest performance in prelims. The organization which has second lowest performance in prelims is A. The total number of candidates who appeared for the exam. Yeah, I think we have to be careful here. He's asking us to find out the number of candidates who appeared for preliminary examination. See, we have to see qualified for means what? Qualified in preliminary examination, right? So here also, while it's not very clearly explicitly mentioned which exam, we have to consider this to be preliminary examination. So total number of candidates who appeared for the preliminary examination. Now, if you look at A's percentage here, it is 8%. That means number of candidates who appeared for means from A is equal to 8% of 5 lakhs. But then I want the number of candidates who appeared for prelims in A. How can we get that from this ratio? We know that the ratio is 10:1, right? Prelims versus mains ratio is 10:1. This is equal to what? So I can say 10/1 is equal to this question mark by 8% of 5 lakhs. So question mark will come out to be what? 80% of 5 lakhs. 80% of 5 lakhs. That's it. So the second part here, the total number of candidates who appeared for the preliminary examination from A is 80% of 5 lakhs. Right? This comes out to be 80% of 5 lakhs. That's it. So X is what percent of Y? X is what percent of Y? X by Y into 100. So 10% of 5 lakhs upon 80% of 5 lakhs into 100. What happens? This gets cancelled. 10 by 8 is like 1 by 8. 1 by 8 is 12.5%, right? So option 5, none of this has to be done. 12.5%. All right. Okay, looks like there's some problem with the tool here. I don't get the video immediately. Yeah, but then I think we are done with this set of questions from data interpretation. I know it was a little, it was not a very straightforward question. There were 2 pie charts with one table which had a lot of data there. So I think the key takeaway should be that you got to understand the data very clearly before you proceed to solve the questions, right? Especially in the second one here. There's a lot of data. So you got to know what do we get from the table, what do we get from the first pie chart, what do we get from the second pie chart. Unless that is clear, answering the questions is going to be difficult. And yes, you have to be strong and very sharp in your calculations. So I think just focus on these 2 things, right? Even when you attempt for your data analysis and interpretation section in the SBI main exam, most of the questions will be from DI, right? Data interpretation. So look at the data, spend maybe like 45, 60 seconds in just analyzing the data. Don't worry about time getting wasted there because we have enough time, right? Time management is not going to be a problem. So analyze the data properly, understand what all can be, extracted from that, and then proceed with the questions one after the other. So that, answering the questions becomes really easy because you will know where do I get, from which part of the diagram will I get the required values in the given question. Okay. So I think focus on that. And yes, keep practicing in whatever time you have left for your main examination, right? Practicing on variety of questions and practicing on your calculations. On that note, let us close it here. I had a few more questions to be discussed, but never mind. We'll take it up in our other upcoming sessions, right? There's nothing that is left left unprepared, right? Because you have already cleared the preliminary examination. So I'm sure you know about all the concepts. All you need to do is just brush up very quickly and focus and make sure that you give your best shot in the main examination. Okay. So with that, I would like to close it here. Let me remind you that your next session for the SBI PO mains exam refresh is tomorrow at 6 p.m., which will be on computer aptitude, where we'll look at some of the previous year's questions. And when we meet next week, we will look at the reasoning ability section and also the descriptive part of the next round, which is the SBI PO mains exam. Okay. Until then, keep practicing and take very good care of yourselves. See you.